This wrecked car is sitting in the impound yard at the Cambria County Prison. It is a witness to a deadly crime. A young man riding in this car was killed by his intoxicated friend. I'm Cambria County District Attorney Callihan. Over the next few minutes, we'll tell the story of this crime, one that changed the lives of two families forever. And it all started on a perfect summer night.
We were called to a vehicle accident, vehicle into a tree on Lemon Drop Road.
We heard there was a lot of blood.
3:30-ish in the morning.
I was the first emergency responder to arrive on scene.
There was a vehicle that everybody thought was the vehicle that was involved in the accident.
Chief called back and said, proceed past that vehicle, that's not the vehicle that's involved.
As we turn a curve and we come to the scene, there was like debris everywhere.
Twists of metal, plastic.
Pieces of the car.
There was some bark missing off a large tree.
So we thought, right there's the vehicle accident, but no vehicle.
I could hear the individuals from the vehicle yelling to me from the bottom of the hill that we're down here.
And the driver was still in the vehicle holding the brake on because it had broke the transmission. He couldn't put it in park.
Whenever I asked him if everyone was out of the vehicle, he said no, there's still an individual inside of there who's seriously hurt.
There was a tremendous amount of blood.
When I went to the side window, I believe I startled him when I shone the flashlight in.
He was on his hands and knees, facing backwards, like facing towards the back seat.
Crawling from the front to the back, from the back to the front. Just all over inside the vehicle.
Very scared.
Screaming.
Very disoriented.
He was thrashing at everything. Every time we tried to put a collar on, he'd throw it off. Every time we'd try to hold his arm down, he was throwing us around.
So we decided just to get the patient out of the vehicle as quickly as we can.
The names he was hollering were the friends that were with him, and they were outside the vehicle, and they were all yelling back, "We're here, we're here."
When we got in the back of the unit, that is when I started to render care to the patient.
He wanted help, he wanted to get up, he wanted to get off the stretcher.
Oh, I was sick. I mean, do you want me to explain that?
What happened to the young victim that night? What is it that the EMT is so hesitant to talk about? We'll get back to the first responders in a moment, but first let's find out who this victim was, who was driving, and what led to this tragic death.
He was a great kid. He was always the life of the party. He was always laughing, always having a good time, and he was a good kid.
Oh, Daniel was a carefree, loving boy.
Whenever I was a senior in high school, I started drinking.
Thousands of friends.
Just partying, having fun.
He was known as Pop-Tart in this area, so most people will say, oh, hey, you're Pop-Tart's mom.
We always just thought partying was something everybody always did.
We came back here his freshman year.
Didn't think I was doing any harm.
I didn't want him to grow up in the city.
We would just party anywhere we could, just in the woods, have a fire.
Oh, well, here they did a lot of swimming in our pool. And hang out video games. They build campfires.
Other friends would buy us beer that were of age. On the weekends, we would just, anywhere there was a party, we would just go there to drink a couple beers.
Ladies' man, yes. The girls definitely liked Daniel.
Probably like 10, 20 people. Sometimes there would be bigger parties.
Actually, I would know they were drinking. I would very much discourage it. I often would say, if you have to do it, I'll come get you.
Our friends' parents would catch us. They usually weren't too happy. We were all underage.
Like, oh, Mom, we're okay. We'll be okay. Don't worry about me, Mom. It's going to be okay.
I killed one of my friends.
The car doesn't look so bad, does it? After all, 4 people walked away from the crash unharmed. However, Daniel was here, right where the tree came grinding by. What happens to a person when they hit an object like that?
The car hit the tree with incredible force on the right passenger side of the car.
When I went to hold pressure on that, because he had a laceration across the head as well, I put my hand to hold pressure, and his whole head was mush. Like his face, everything moved. It wasn't normal.
Daniel's head went out the open window and directly impacted the tree.
If you would take a Halloween mask off and throw it on the ground, how it distorts the face. It doesn't look like it's a face anymore. It kind of looks like it's compressed in, pushed in, swelled up in other areas.
His eye went right into the tree, completely blew apart his right eyeball.
There was just blood everywhere. His hair was matted in blood. There was blood clots on his shirt.
There were multiple fractures in the face extending all the way into the skull, all the way through the skull, into the brain, causing significant brain injury.
Everything was sticky from the blood. Like every time you touch him, you like trying to get off of it, and it was really sticky.
Bleeding in and around the brain, which led to brain swelling and eventually resulted in his demise.
Well, I asked him to play video games, but he said he had to go, and that's the last thing I said.
It's the fault of the driver and his decisions prior to the accident, because it was a drunk driving accident. And I'm sure that if he did live through it, he would have different views on drunk driving, because people need a wake-up call, but he's dead. He can't just tell people how he feels about it, because like he's dead now, and nothing's gonna bring him back.
I just went back to sleep thinking it was nothing. And then I woke up later, and then I went into my cousin Heather's room, and then she told me what happened. And then I just kind of broke down from there.
If the journey there involves you dying in the smallest amount, you don't need to party. Which is more important to your life, partying or like your whole family suffering over your death?
I went to the hospital on August 9th, I think, the day before he died. And that was the last time I was able to see him. And that was the only time I went to the hospital. It was kind of horrific. It was, I don't know.
We're teenagers. We just want to party. We don't think about death. Because we're this young. We don't think about dying.
Basically, they'll drink and drive. They think it's fun, it's invigorating, it's dangerous, it's different. There's a risk associated with it. Adrenaline rush, all that stuff.
I'm not saying my older brother's stupid, but he made some bad decisions that night. And that kid made some bad decisions that night. And I hate to say it, but now they're paying for it.
Drinking and driving in any situation is just stupid. And if you want to do it, then you're stupid. Like, that's just how plain it is. Like, there's no other way of saying it. It's just dumb.
Well, I would like to say that if they saw on the news that some kid died from making that mistake, that they wouldn't make the same mistake, but some people aren't that smart. Some people can't see past their own lives. They think that my life is already planned out. They think that I'm not going to die until I'm old. But some people's stories don't go that far.
Daniel's story lasted only 19 years. Kevin was arrested, convicted of homicide by vehicle, and sentenced to jail. In Pennsylvania, the law mandates that the guilty driver gets 3 years of prison for every person killed in a DUI crash. My job is to make sure that these people are punished for the crimes they commit and to fight for the rights of the victims and their families.
It hurts.
We were called to a vehicle accident, vehicle into a tree on Lemon Drop Road.
When you lose somebody, your life changes, especially when it's your baby boy.
Crawling from the front to the back, from the front back to the front, from the front back, just all over inside the vehicle.
Could happen to you.
The names he was hollering were the friends that were with him.
Your family could be devastated like mine.
The car hit the tree with incredible force.
To say the world's not over, but it was for me.
Just partying and having fun. 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 Didn't think I was doing any harm. Didn't think I was doing any harm. I killed one of my friends.
Life is all about the choices you make. Kevin made a very bad choice that night when he decided to drink and drive. His choice killed his friend. Getting your driver's license is something to look forward to, but it comes with great responsibility. Make the right choice. Never, ever drive drunk. It just isn't worth it.
You couldn't walk into that floor in the hospital without, there was not a seat there.
For 3 days. I'm there every day. It sucked. It does feel like yesterday. Yeah, I mean, time goes by so fast, but you never realize. And until you actually take a look back, looking at pictures now, he's starting to look young to us. Mm. You know, you can actually see the age in us, but it don't feel like it was 3 years ago at all. It does feel like it was yesterday. I don't know.
I can almost remember the night like it was yesterday, you know what I mean? Like everybody drinking. I can almost remember when I was drinking that night and everything. It's just crazy. I was there for a while. We were all drinking, having a good time, you know. He had the pond down there. We were all on the like a little boat that he had, drinking out on the boat and stuff like that. Just having fun. And I actually called my mom for a ride. She'd rather me be straight up with her than lie, because there's no point in lying. She's going to find out either way. So I just called her that night. I was like, hey, I'm drunk. Come get me. I got work in the morning. Gotta go. She came and got me.
All of our family are like that.
Yeah.
If any of us needed a ride, I could call his mom. He could
Yeah,
call my gram. We'd all be there for each other. And they're the same way. They don't want to see anything bad happen to us.
Yeah, they saw what we went through. They'll do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes to stop us from making a bad decision. We were always so reckless. We drank and drove. We had no care for it. We didn't see the dangers in it.
Normal teenage stuff.
Yeah, until it happened. Then when it happened, everything changed.
If you like sit and actually take the time to think what would happen, like how would your life change if your best friend died? Like if tomorrow you woke up and you could never see your best friend again. How different would your life be? Or if your parents woke up the next morning and could never see you again, how big of an impact would that be?
There's a million things I can say. It's just, I don't know what I can get to say for kids to actually think about it before they just go and do it. Because there's so many people that's just going to do it. Just think before you do. Try and everything in your power just not to have that, put yourself in that predicament to where that's going to happen.
People look at us and they see what happened to us. And we make sure they know. We tell them.
All the time.
You know, and it's not even, if people are drinking at a party, other people got to look out for other people. I mean, there's times where people get hot-headed and they just want to jump in a vehicle and leave. But it's up to other people to calm them down and not let them drive.
You have to be a friend. If you see someone getting in a car that's drunk, even if you think they're going to be mad at you, it's worth them being mad at you even for a month than not to see them again. Do whatever you can.
You have to fight them.
Whatever you can.
Let them fight you. Take his keys, call someone else, call their mother to come out and get him.
If you have
Even
to.
if they're going to be mad at them drinking, still better than them dying.
Would you rather call the police, to stop your friend from drinking and driving, or call the police to report the accident?
Yeah. Rather have him, if it was my child, I'd rather have him coming home in cuffs than coming home in a bag.